Port Charles has always been a town built on secrets, but nothing could have prepared it for this. After months of painful searching, shocking near misses, and heartbreaking confessions, Marco finally uncovers the unimaginable truth. It was Sidwell who murdered Natalia. And what happens next could change everything, not only for Marco, but for the entire canvas of General Hospital. In this sweeping and emotional spoiler article, we explore how the pieces fall into place, what Marco's discovery means for his soul, and how this revelation ignites a firestorm that no one, not Sonny, not Ava, not even Jason, can control. Get ready, because this is General Hospital storytelling at its most explosive. Since the day Natalia's lifeless body was discovered under suspicious circumstances, Marco has lived in the shadow of grief. Natalia wasn't just someone he cared about. She was the person who grounded him, the one whose presence softened the sharp edges of his life. For months, Marco's obsession with finding her killer has bordered on self-destruction. Friends watched him unravel. Dark circles under his eyes, short tempers, and moments of haunting silence. Even his relationship with Blaze suffered. The singer worried that Marco would lose himself completely to the darkness. But the search never stopped. Marco haunted back alleys, paid off informants, hacked into phone records, and dug through secrets that powerful people would kill to protect. Every lead was a dead end, until one night, a single overlooked clue changed everything. It happened almost by accident. Marco was at the old safe house Natalia had used when she felt threatened by someone unknown. On a dusty shelf, hidden beneath yellowed papers and broken picture frames, Marco found an unmarked flash drive. Heart pounding, he raced back to his apartment. Alone, in the glow of his computer screen, he opened the files. They were audio recordings. One recording chilled Marco to his core, Natalia's terrified voice, whispering frantically. Sidwell knows. He knows about everything. If something happens to me, look at him. He's not who he says he is. The voice faded into silence. Marco's chest tightened. Natalia had suspected Sidwell, a man Marco had once trusted. Rage burned hot in his veins, but it was also the first real lead he'd had in months. Marco worked tirelessly, going over every interaction, every piece of evidence. He reached out to Brick, hoping Sonny's trusted associate could help him verify the authenticity of the recording. Brick was cautious, but understood the stakes. After forensic analysis, Brick confirmed it. The recording was real, recorded days before Natalia's death. Marco dug deeper. He discovered surveillance footage, previously dismissed, that showed Sidwell meeting with a man known for arranging accidents in Port Charles. Even worse, there were bank transfers from Sidwell to an offshore account tied to this fixer. The truth solidified. Natalia's death wasn't random. It was murder, and Sidwell was behind it. Revealing the truth wouldn't be easy. Sidwell had power. His reach extended through law enforcement, politicians, and even parts of Sonny's organization. One wrong move could end with Marco sharing Natalia's fate. Marco faced a painful question. Was justice worth sacrificing everything, including Blaze, who barely survived losing her mother? He couldn't keep the secret. Natalia's death haunted him. If he stayed silent, he'd become the kind of man she never believed him to be. Marco sat Blaze down in their apartment. She could sense something was wrong by the pain in his eyes. "I found out who killed your mother," he whispered. Blaze froze. Tears welled up, but her voice was calm. "Who?" "Sidwell." Marco forced out, each syllable slicing into him. "It was him. I have proof." Blaze gasped, her hand covering her mouth. The revelation shattered everything she thought she knew. Sidwell had always acted like an ally, a mentor, but behind that facade, he was a monster. "What do we do?" she asked. Marco took her hand. "Whatever it takes to make him pay." Marco and Blaze met Sonny at the coffee warehouse, away from prying eyes. Sonny listened, his face hard as stone. "You sure about this, Marco? Once we go after Sidwell, there's no turning back."
"I'm sure," Marco said.
"He killed Natalia." Sonny nodded, anger burning behind his dark eyes. Natalia had been a friend once, and betrayal like this was personal. Sonny promised to help. But he warned them, Sidwell wouldn't go down easily. He had powerful allies and a ruthless instinct for survival. Sidwell heard whispers that Marco had discovered something. Before Marco could act, Sidwell made his move. One night, Marco returned home to find their apartment ransacked. A chilling message was scrawled on the wall. "Drop it, or you're next." Blaze was terrified, but Marco refused to back down. If anything, Sidwell's threat made him more determined. Sidwell underestimated Marco's resolve and Sonny's willingness to bring justice. Sonny arranged a meeting at Pier 52. Sidwell thought he was coming to negotiate new business. Instead, he walked into a trap. When Sidwell arrived, Marco stepped out of the shadows, audio recording in hand. "You kill Natalia," Marco spat. "And now everyone will know." Sidwell sneered. "You think anyone will believe you? I own this town." Sonny emerged behind Sidwell. "Not anymore," Sonny growled. Sidwell's confidence faltered for the first time. Marco demanded Sidwell confess. Sidwell refused, but Marco played the recording of Natalia's voice. Sidwell's face paled. "You killed her because she knew too much," Marco accused. Sidwell's mask slipped. Rage twisted his features. "She was going to ruin everything," he hissed. "She brought this on herself." The words spilled out, damning him. Sonny's men recorded every word. Blaze stepped forward, tears streaking her face. "She was my mother," she whispered. "You took her from me." Sidwell looked at her, for once silent. Blaze's pain transformed into steel. "I won't let you do this to anyone else," she vowed. It was a turning point. Blaze, who had spent so long in fear, found her strength in the face of the man who destroyed her family. The recording and Sidwell's confession were leaked to the press. Port Charles erupted in scandal. Law enforcement had no choice but to act. Sidwell was arrested, his empire crumbling overnight. Politicians and associates who once protected him scrambled to save themselves, cutting ties and exposing more secrets. Marco had done it. He had honored Natalia's memory. Victory was bittersweet. Marco stood at Natalia's grave, the summer wind rustling through the trees. "I kept my promise," he whispered, "but it doesn't bring you back." Blaze joined him, placing a white rose on the grave. "She'd be proud of you," she said softly. Marco knew she was right, but the emptiness in his heart would never fully heal. The experience changed Blaze. Her grief became her music's soul, and she used her voice to speak out against corruption. Marco, once driven by revenge, found new purpose: to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. They built something stronger from the ashes of tragedy. Sidwell's fall reshaped Port Charles. Old alliances shattered. New players emerged, eager to fill the power vacuum. Sonny, grateful for Marco's loyalty, offered him a place in his organization, but Marco hesitated, unsure if he wanted to live in that world again. Jason warned Marco, "Port Charles doesn't stay quiet for long." Through it all, Natalia's memory remained a guiding light. Marco kept her photograph in his pocket, a reminder of love and loss. Blaze dedicated her next album to her mother. The music was raw, painful, and beautiful, and it touched thousands who had known loss themselves. One evening, Marco and Blaze sat together on the balcony, the city lights shimmering below. "We did it," Blaze whispered. Marco nodded.
"Yeah,
"We did." Blaze leaned her head against his shoulder. For the first time in months, peace settled over them. They knew new battles would come, but they would face them together. Port Charles moves forward, forever changed. Sidwell, once untouchable, awaited trial for Natalia's murder. Blaze's music gave hope to the brokenhearted. Marco, once consumed by vengeance, rediscovered love and purpose. And Natalia's spirit lived on, not only in their hearts, but in the justice they fought so hard to bring. Marco and Blaze's bond will deepen, but past secrets may yet test them. Sonny's control of Port Charles faces new threats as Sidwell's allies regroup. Blaze's rise to fame brings both opportunity and danger. Natalia's murder is avenged, but the ripple effect may reveal even darker truths about Port Charles. One thing is certain: In this town, justice always comes at a cost, and no secret stays buried forever.